see them there.
Bruny Island Bird Festival.
Come along and see some birds.
That's a 40-footer paddler.
If you spend time in the bush and live in the bush, you begin to understand that the world is much more complex than humans often think it is. And understanding that complexity is really exciting and interesting, and particularly as you get older, because you're still looking for things to do when you retire, and learning about the bush, learning about the natural environment is just such a great thing to do.
Welcome to the Bruny Island Bird Festival. Woohoo! Come along and see some birds.
I think the big thing is that people don't understand the natural environment and the relationship of birds and animals that have with that environment, and we've lost that ability to look at it and say, this is important to us. So I think bird festivals are a way of reminding people that we live in an environment and we have to understand it before we can even look at it.
I think Bob's terrific. You know, he just has this wonderful style of telling the story, but he pieces it together so we get the whole connection of the birds that we're seeing here going all across the continent or even globally. So just the way he connects all of that together is just really lovely.
Understand there's a relationship between plants and birds, but if you go to any nursery, very few nurseries will sell plants that are attractive to a range of native birds. So they tend to think that if you put in grevilleas, it will attack honeyeaters. They do, but usually only one species. And honeyeaters are a very aggressive bird, a whole lot of them. So you'll get a bird like the noisy miner. Once that establishes itself, it will chase everything away. The Tasmanian thornbill's got a much more melodious song than the brown thornbill, although they're very close. If you think you hear a Tasmanian thornbill and you're hearing something at that level, it's actually a brown thornbill. The Tasmanian thornbill inhabits towards the top of the tree and in much denser vegetation.
This morning we've had an amazing walk with Bob Graham from all the way from the beach through lots of habitats into his bush block at the back of Adventure Bay. He has incredible knowledge of this area, having lived here for a really long time, and is happy to share that with everyone, and everyone had such a beautiful time with him.
I came all the way from Brazil. I've been learning a lot so far, and it's so exciting to be here.
tell myself I'm through with love, and I'll have nothing more to do with love. I'll stay away, but every day I'm just fooling myself. I tell my friends that I don't care. I shrug my shoulders at the whole affair, but they all know it isn't so. I'm just fooling myself, and every time I pass and see your face in the looking glass, I tip my head and say, how do you do, fool? You're throwing your youth away.
It was great to see some young people here. When we first started, it was mostly older people, but young people seem to be showing more and more interest now. That's very refreshing, because conservation needs young people with new ideas and the energy to carry those ideas through and actually do things.
This place is dedicated to helping birds of prey, eagles, hawks and owls, the raptors of Tasmania. And it's got the most amazing facilities with the largest aviaries in the Southern Hemisphere. And we have birds coming in, day out. And our motto is, get them in, get them out. But we can't get them all back out because of their injuries. And those birds, if they're fit for display, will be on display for education and display purposes. This week we've got the Bruny Island Bird Festival as an event. Normally we go over to Bruny Island, just down the road. This time we're bringing the guests to the Raptor refuge so they can just see how great this place is and the birds, which is what it's all about.
Yeah, we're going to feed some mast owls, see if they're in the mood to come show off today. Just around here at the big owl aviary. So I'll wait for everyone to come out and get a spot, and then I'll give them some food. And hopefully they do something, no promises though. Not allowed to feed them live food. It's against the law. Seen as cruel to put the food in there. Animal ethics, yeah. They've got some chicken today, raw chicken, and some rats as well. Dead rats. And a lot of the raptors have come here because they've been hit by cars, because they're feeding on the roadkill. This is Mrs. Monty, she's blind in her right eye. Makes them very vulnerable to rat poison. If they catch a rodent that's been baited, then they get poisoned too. And why have they got big eyes? See in the dark, exactly right.
Grey Currawong. Yes. White-browed wood swallow. Pacific black duck. Yes. Chestnut teal. Yes. Little penguin. No? Masked lapwing. Yes. And there's a few swifties still around.
Yeah, Rabbit has some this morning, but he's not here.
This time of day the birds aren't going to be super active. It's not going to be about so much seeing birds as learning about them. There's not many hollows in the forests where they live that are migratory, go to the Australian mainland for the winter, come down in the springtime, find these nest boxes and go, well, that looks like a good spot. But the other thing we're doing is planting white gums. Somewhere up on that tree, hopefully there'll be some buds that will grow through to become flowers to feed swift parrots next year. Habitat loss seems to make that worse. I was trying to think of that word. Aggravate, yes. Aggravate the predation problems, so nest failure rates go up as you've got more disturbance in the landscape, also as you have fewer potential hollow-bearing trees within the immediate vicinity of that nest. Ultimately, we have to make it better if we're going to save swift parrots.
Like other parts of Australia and indeed the world, we've been less affected by human interaction than most other parts of Australia and most other parts of Europe and Asia and into the Americas, because we have a low population. Land is not all that productive. It's not good farmland. The forests are reasonably productive, but they've been damaged so much no one's logging it anymore. So you see a lot more things that exist in nature than you do in many other parts. Most people grow up without becoming aware of those things. In Bruny Island, short trip from Hobart, you can come here, you can experience these things and go away and say, well, you know, that's different and it's worth looking at.
Hello, I'm Tonya Cochrane from Anala Nature Tours. We're here at the Bruny Island Bird Festival, which is a really important event for conservation. It increases awareness of local community, and school kids and adults alike come, and people from all over the world, so it's a good meeting place for people. Inala is my property, and it's also the name of my business, Inala Nature Tours, and we run wildlife tours and birding tours around the globe now. But this is the base, and we've just had a lovely walk around the property with some people during the bird festival. That period of time, part of my job in the early 1990s was to collect seed from these trees and grow them into little seed and then distribute them to adjoining landowners.
So that was just a fabulous walk through nature this morning. Different areas with different vegetation and the different birds.
Tonya did a brilliant job of reminding us all how important it is to look after nature and the plants that the animals feed on, the land that nurtures the plants.
That's
and
right.
to tie it all together, she did it in a beautiful way, looking at all these different environments.
And allowing nature to unfold in its own way.
So we'll have a quick look at the bird hide here. The white bird, like a cockatoo but a natural raptor. It is also the only all-white raptor in the world. They are a threatened species in Tassie. There's about 200 breeding pairs. Green rosellas is feeding up here. I don't know if you can hear that harsh, but that's the Tasmanian scrub wren. It's pretty obvious once you find it. So that loud musical call behind us, that's a grey shrike thrush. If you're ever in Tassie and you hear that, that usually means there's an aerial threat coming across. That's a New Holland honeyeater. They're great warning systems. They also call out for kookaburras, currawongs and butcherbirds. So it's not always a raptor, but anything that can scratch you. So there's dusky wood swallows. Actually, there's quite a few of them up on the upper reaches of the tree. The pardalote platform. Hope to get better looks at 40 spotted pardalotes. Those are some very young trees, still good for foraging on, but not good for nesting on. And so you have the added nest boxes, such as that one over there. Look at them carefully, their upper mandible, unlike the other pardalotes which have a spoon-shaped bill, additional with the added hook to the tip of the upper mandible. And they use that to farm what's called mana, a very sugary exudate that comes out of these. Actually all eucalypts, but the one from the Viminalis is richer than a lot of others. So there's a few 40 spotted pardalotes just here.
Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for asking.
Learn from it rather than using it. But once you understand how important they are to us, to everyone, and to our future, you say, well, maybe we should look after it. And Bruny Island is a good place to learn that lesson. Rather than look after it, I'd put it as to learn how it can look after itself and then stand back and let it do its job. Always grown up with the beach, surfed and things like that. We treat beaches as though they're playgrounds rather than saying, hey, these are important, lots of things live here. The interaction between the ocean, the beach and the hinterland is just so incredibly complex and so interesting that I think it's almost mind-blowing. And when you're sitting out and there's no waves and you're thinking, oh, I'll have a look at this beach.